Face front, true believers. Welcome to episode 113 of the Pitch Nerds. We are the weekly show where two nerds assemble to bring you the latest nerdy news, reviews, and occasionally pitch things. Ooh. Sorry, that went down the wrong pipe. I'm eating some delicious mini wheats. Anyways, I am Cap, and joining me today is always best friend, fellow nerd, a man who can lick his own elbow, Mr. Frosty. Mr. Frosty, how are you doing?
That's not true. I've tried.
Sorry, I was out of town last week. I was in the Danish capital of the U.S., which is Solvang. And while in Solvang, I embraced true Danish culture by stopping by the As Seen on TV store, which I purchased my Bug Assault 3.0. Because when I think Danish culture and heritage, I think the Bug Assault 3.0 at the As Seen on TV store. It is a great little, it's not a toy, but if you have a bug or anything, ooh, mwah, it's my new favorite toy.
Looks like a toy.
Yeah. It was fun though. Like it was a fun little getaway. We got to feed some ostriches. Mrs. Cap and I just really needed a vacation. Got to where we stayed was right, actually neighboring to my favorite brewery, which is Firestone Walker. They make 805, which is Modelo for white people, which is, I'm a white person. It's my favorite beer. Good food there too. Had the salmon. It's delicious. Anywho, boy, we have a lot of stuff to talk about. We have Ahsoka dropped, My Adventures with Superman, which I'm excited to talk about. We have this week's Battle Nerds, which will pit Squirrel Girl versus Goku. We have Dog Soldiers as our Behold Nerds. I saw the Barbie movie and have some thoughts. Some nerdy news, yeah?
Yeah.
Let's do it.
So, a lot happened last week. First up, interested to know what your thoughts are on this. Apparently, Thor 5 is now in development. So there was some talk because Chris Hemsworth, obviously, he got a diagnosis, and so they're like, "Oh, is he going to play Thor again?" Looks like he's going to.
Really? Is it?
Yeah.
Do we know who's producing, directing? Like
Taika Waititi is reportedly going to be the director again.
Okay.
There was, I guess, like it sounds like to me, like the Ragnarok was like obviously that knocked it out of the park, and then people have mixed opinions on Love and Thunder.
Right.
Chris Hemsworth said he thought that they just kind of were having too much fun making Love and Thunder, and that's why it like leans more towards heavy comedy.
Right.
I defend Love and Thunder. I think, yeah, it's silly, but I'm okay with that. And then the stuff that's cool is very cool.
Yeah. I can love the movie despite its faults. I still think that the superior movie was it Ragnarok by far.
I agree with that. I agree with that totally. But I still think Love and Thunder wasn't bad.
It wasn't bad. I just wish that the humor was great. I just wish it took itself just a tad more seriously. Like you had this really just cool villain who just was so dark and just so good, and then everything else is sort of like silly around him. Like I still love the movie despite its flaws. If I didn't realize we were getting a fifth one, but I did hear rumor that Marvel is going to sort of like try to retcon itself through Secret Invasion.
Okay.
Possibly alter Phase 5. I'm not sure in what way. I think they're probably going to try to steer away from the whole thing with Kang, with the actor, and possible issues down the line with that. So
I thought that there was still they hadn't said anything.
So they hadn't said anything, right? So they hadn't said anything.
And he was also acquitted, right? Like they were like, "Oh yeah, no charges" or something.
Was he acquitted? I mean, that's
I believe. I could be wrong. I think all charges were dropped against him.
So I heard that what Marvel is going to do is they're going to utilize this chunk with the writer's strike and everything to sort of restructure how they're going to carry on with Phase 5, right?
Yeah, looks. I'm just checking this. Sorry. I think the charges that were dropped against him.
That's
anyway, sorry. What did you say just now?
No, that's good. So, anyways, I heard that they're going to be sort of like restructuring things, but again, this is just rumor because we do speak rumor and shit here. But
well, yeah, I mean, like it's just important.
But like,
I mean,
Thor 5.
I'm fine discussing rumors as long as we're like, it's a rumor,
Yes, just like Thor 5 wasn't ever slated in the initial release of movies. Now we're getting a Thor 5, so it looks like they're going to be. All
Well,
the same.
I don't know if it's, it might come after those. Like,
Mm,
you know how Marvel is. Like
yeah,
they plan like crazy ahead.
right.
But yeah, I mean, I don't know. I'm excited. Like a Thor's the Thors are good. I mean, overall, I didn't like Thor. I mean, I didn't hate it. I
Dark
maintain that
World, I can appreciate Dark World through its
it,
flaws. It
it's
was.
the weakest of the Thors,
Mm,
but I still think it was serviceable. I don't think it wasn't terrible. Like I didn't watch when I was watching. I was like, oh god, when is this going to be over?
right.
But although the funny thing is the comedy moments in Thor 5 all come from Chris Hemsworth.
Right.
Like and in Thor 1, like a lot of the jokes, like the like
Just
another,
right.
like yeah,
Just
people didn't
fish out of
realize
water.
like yeah, people didn't realize he had comedy chops, but I mean he does.
Right.
And yeah, so I mean and then Taika Waititi, he does a good job. I mean, he made like whatever your feelings are about him, it's like he made Love and Thunder and people are like, oh, he fucking sucks. It's like I understand if you didn't like the movie, but he still made a bunch of good movies,
Right.
like having one movie that is like less good
Right.
or you thought it had too much comedy. I mean, like,
Right.
come on.
Right.
And it was still like I mean, you can say what you want about the film, but like I mean, there's a scene where like they're riding out of a celestial city on a ship across a rainbow bridge drawn by massive goats while frickin' Guns N' Roses plays. It's
Right.
awesome.
Right.
You know what I mean? Like it's cool as shit.
But
Like if
then
you
you
can't,
could be the other guy who says, yeah, and then there's this part where they came out on like some fucking rainbow bridge or some shit with goats and they were playing fucking Guns N' Roses. It was the dumbest fucking thing I've ever seen. Um so
yeah, I
you could
haven't
sort of
heard that. I've heard people just go like they talk about the stuff they didn't like. I've
yeah.
never heard anybody complain about that.
No, I'm not saying
But
that specific scene. I'm just saying that it's the same movie. It's just how you
I guess my point is
rephrase it.
it's like there's awesome shit,
Yeah.
and it's like people are like, well, I can't enjoy awesome shit because I didn't like the way Russell Crowe portrayed Zeus. And
I
it's
loved Russell
like
Crowe in that movie. Russell Crowe is probably one of the best parts of that movie. He's great. He's
it was
Zeus.
funny, but
Zeus. It's fucking Zeus, man. Like
yeah,
that guy's a whore.
well, I mean, yeah, I mean, it was very different from the Zeus in the comics. I
Yeah,
mean, like
but it's still funny.
it
It's
was
Zeus.
funny. I agree, but I
Love
mean,
it.
I didn't really have a problem with any. The one part that I thought was a little over the top was when he did the Van Damme thing.
Yeah, but
I
you know what?
thought,
At least they got that out of the way in like the first 10 minutes of the movie.
true, but I thought that was just a little over the top. Um, I mean, people complain about some of the CGI. It was overall, it was good, and there were some parts that were just fucking awesome.
Yeah,
Like when they go to the
when they
like
go to that city, like yeah,
I was
right.
thinking the black and white bit where he's
Oh
got
yeah,
the
yeah.
and they were shooting at a super high frame rate in that
Mm,
scene. So like yeah, they were doing stuff that was unique and interesting.
right.
Um, I think it's a better movie than people give it credit for, and also like people love to shit on it, but like I think it was number 8. I mean, Marvel's never had like the MCU anyway
Mm,
has never had a movie that has been under the top 10 of movies for that year.
mm,
They've all cleared. Um, I think the only time Marvel's really fucking shit the bed and like made something bad
mm,
was Secret Invasion.
yeah.
And even that, it had performances that were good. It was just as a series, yeah, it was pretty shit.
Right.
And the ending didn't make any sense to me, like at all. But anyway, Thor 5. If you guys are excited about it, let us know. If it sounds boring and you don't care, also let us know. All opinions are welcome.
And except if you're
So
wrong and disagree with us.
nope, they can disagree. Um, this isn't really news, but I thought I'd bring it up because I don't think you've seen it, and now you can. Flash is on HBO Max.
Yes, saw this. Mrs. Cap and I are probably going to watch it when we're done here. Yeah.
I mean, like, I think we've talked about it before. I saw it a while ago. Personally, I really liked it. It literally has some of my favorite Batman scenes.
Mm,
There's a bit in the beginning with Batflick,
mm,
and like he's chasing down this like armored car, and he's
mm.
like, you'd have to watch. It's
Yeah,
awesome.
yeah,
Like
yeah,
it's
yeah,
an
yeah.
awesome sequence.
Right.
And then also some of the sequences with Keaton are good.
Mm-hmm.
My only complaints for that movie is I agree the CGI, especially in the Flash. I mean,
Like
in
when he's in the
the
Speed Force.
yeah, it looks a little subpar. And then also, um, what do you call it? The ending. I didn't. You'll see. I mean, he moves the tomatoes, and it's like
All right.
kind of defeats the whole purpose of the movie. People are upset as well. There's a bit where a baby gets put in a microwave. I thought it was hilarious. Like,
Remember, kids, 3.5 minutes for babies. It's 3.5 minutes per pound.
no, we here at the
Baby.
Pitchers do not endorse putting babies in microwaves,
How else are you supposed
but
to reheat them?
we do find it hilarious. Um, yeah. Anyway, sad news.
Oh,
We had a
all
couple
the
of
sad
deaths.
news. Ay,
Bob Barker has passed away at age
99 years old. You
99.
know what's funny is that the day before, I was talking to a guest about Bob Barker and how that guy must still be getting all the tail from the Playboy, or not the Playboy, the Price is Right, like the Showgirls.
Yeah.
I bet that guy was getting all the strange until the very last minute because that guy is just such a. He seemed like a cool dude.
Yeah. Well, I mean, he was a big, obviously a big personality, and one of our fellow nerds, Megan Anderson, she's very involved in PETA, so
Yeah.
obviously has ties to that. And then additionally, Arlene Sorkin passed away, which that one was like, oh, geez. I mean, like, what are your thoughts on that?
So that's the original voice of Harley Quinn, right?
Yeah, she's the
Yeah.
reason Harley Quinn exists as a
Right.
character. I
Uh,
mean, Harley Quinn was based off of her.
right. Uh,
I think good.
and Pee Wee. Yeah, it was just one.
Well, we talked about Pee Wee, yeah, because he passed away recently. I pulled this message from Tara Strong. She posted this. Without this gorgeous, talented goddess, Harley Quinn would have never existed. She was the inspiration and the heart and soul of this iconic character. I was in awe as Batgirl watching her alongside Mark Hamill and Kevin. Sending love to her family. Rest in peace, Arlene Sorkin.
And you know what's
And yeah, I mean,
neat is
she's
that Tara
Harley Quinn.
Strong actually went on to voice Harley Quinn.
Yeah, I know.
Later
But
on,
I mean,
but still.
yeah, she's impersonating Arlene Sorkin's Harley
Right.
Quinn.
Right.
And yeah, it's shocking. I mean, like we've lost Harley Quinn, we've lost Batman now. But yeah, it's but I mean, these people are legends and they left a legacy.
Yeah.
I mean, I think Tara Strong's sentiment, that echoes how we feel.
Yeah.
And it's sad we lost a legend.
Yeah. So we have Mrs. Cap. She has the original appearance or the first appearance of Harley Quinn in a comic. The comic is in pretty good condition. It could probably get it pressed, but we were going to get it really pressed and steamed and then graded. It's probably an 8. Somewhere in the 8s. I'll even say low 9s, but it's in great condition. But we also have the issue where it's that picture of the Joker and Harley, and it's that famous picture of the two of them. We have that issue. Pristine condition. We were going to get that one graded also. God, that sucks. That really sucks. I mean, it's awesome.
Asshole over here. I have Avengers. I want to say number 8.
Mm-hmm.
And I was looking at it, and I set it down. I came back, and
no.
Yeah, I know. There's like the little couple like cat print teeth on there.
Evil
like,
cat.
Man.
Evil cat.
It's not in the best condition anyway, but still.
That sucks.
Yeah.
But I mean,
let me grab it.
No.
Yeah, number 6. Sorry.
Number 6. Oh God.
Yeah.
Okay, that's cool.
I forget. There's you have to hunt for it, but oh, yeah, it's on the back. It's right there, right there. I don't know if we can see that. There's like,
Yeah, yep, there it is. Little kitty nips.
yeah.
Yep. Evil cat.
But yeah, it's also the introduction of Zemo.
Ooh, really? Nice.
Yeah, it's probably one of my top gems in my collection.
That's
I
cool.
also had the first appearance of Warlock.
No,
Technically, he was still in the pod, but it was like when we see his pod for the first
right,
time.
right, right. That's cool.
I had like the second appearance of Silver Surfer. I was so bummed. A friend gave me this like stack of old comics, and and she was like, "If there's anything in there, it's yours." And I was like looking through them, and I was like, and yeah, they all date back to the '60s, so it's like early Fantastic Four stuff.
Oh,
But,
yeah.
Anyway, so additionally, so this is we'll talk about Rebel Moon a little bit later, but Zack Snyder says his director's cut for Rebel Moon has close to an hour of extra content.
Nice.
Direct quote: "With Netflix, we shot scenes just for the director's cut, so in that way, it's really a revelation because it's given a second kick at the can for big fans." It's kind of I find it weird that he's like, let's make Rebels Moon, and then he's making like a director's cut as well as like there's talk about doing like a theatrical cut. I don't know. Like, look, we'll talk about the trailer a bit, but the trailer looks cool. But like, what are your thoughts on like the idea of like planning a director's cut?
Money, money, money. They just wants to he created a cool thing. Let's try to find a way to make more money. Good for him.
I don't know. I mean, he's never struck me as someone that cares about the monetary side of things.
I guess it just seems like one of those things where it's like, hey, I can do this and we can possibly rake in more cash. I'm excited to talk about the trailer though. Once we finally get around to it, it looks. It felt refreshing in all the right ways, but no, I don't care. Whatever comes out, I'm a fan of the extended cuts. Like my favorite. Aliens is probably my favorite extended cut because you just get more.
I totally agree. I love extended cuts. I love director's cuts. I like I'm all down for that.
Like Lord of the Rings was another great extended cut. What else? What was another good extended cut?
Well, I mean, I don't know if it.
Terminator 2 is another good one.
People have opinions, but
yeah.
Obviously there's Batman versus. I mean, in regards to Snyder, there's Batman versus Superman, and then there's the Ultimate Edition. I think he's playing. I don't know if it's a money thing. I do think that he is someone that engages with his fans, and I think his fans like the idea of having the movie and then like the director's cut version. And I guess I do see that, like, because if you were to, I'm not gonna generalize people, but there are people in my life that I could probably sit down and watch Rebel Moon with, and they'd be fine with it.
Right.
But the same movie with a whole like where it's 3 hours long, and it's more like like people loved. I mean, like Zack Snyder's Justice League, for example. I think it's a cool movie.
Right.
But I could understand why like my dad and my sister and my mom would not be able to sit through that, whereas they could sit through Guardians of the Galaxy.
Yeah.
I mean, because it's a 4-hour like crunchy.
It's a 4-hour movie that feels like a 3-hour movie.
Yeah, but it's like crunchy and like it's like it's versus Guardians, which is like more like hearted.
Yeah,
I mean,
it hits the beats.
Yeah, exactly. But yeah, I'm excited for it. I don't think a theatrical release. Some people are like, "Oh, please, theatrical release."
I bet it'd be awesome on IMAX. Just something like that. I'm surprised.
I get it
there
in
hasn't been
IMAX.
talk about IMAX.
I totally get it in IMAX, or like I forget what that thing is where it's like the chairs that move and throw you into the action, and like any of the big theatrical experiences, I get it. But a standard theater nowadays, if you give me the option to watch it at home on my home theater setup, I'm gonna do that over going to the movies.
Right.
You know, like and I think we're gonna see more of that, like because home theaters in the United States anyway are getting cheaper and cheaper and cheaper.
Mm-hmm.
More people have decent TVs.
Mm.
I mean, it's if I have a big TV at home, comfortable chair, I can pause it, I can get snacks, I don't have to pay out my ass, like then I'm gonna pick that every time. I think it's
Right.
like, I mean, obviously there was the pandemic, but when they released the Suicide Squad, the reason people don't go see it in theaters, why?
Right.
I've seen it. I mean, this is just. What are your thoughts? Do you agree, or do you?
So
Do you
it depends on the movie. I won't see, like when Suicide Squad came out. Why do I saw it? It was great. Why do I need to turn around and see it again in theaters? Like it just
right?
yeah. There's no point. I think what we're going to see now is movies are becoming more of a spectacle. The more that theaters get more ingenuitive with how they build up their movie experience. They want it to be an experience. I don't go to the movies that much anymore, but when we do, it's an experience because we go to the luxury theater. You can recline, even though it's not big theater. It's still the experience of being able to sit in the lazy chair and order a beer. Same thing with IMAX. Like that is an experience. I don't know. I don't know. It just depends on the movie. If
Well, in regards to Rebel Moon, do you think it'll work or no?
so, if I'm sure it'll get some traction, some viewership, but if it's on Netflix,
Well, I mean, he's got a hardcore fan
yeah,
base.
he
so
does, but
yeah.
just release it to IMAX, film it in IMAX, release it on IMAX. I'd watch the shit out of that. That looks cool.
I agree with that sentiment. If it was in IMAX, then I see the appeal.
So
I probably still wouldn't go see it, but I see the appeal.
So Mrs. Cap and I had no idea this was a thing, but when we went to go see Captain Marvel, they showed the movie where it was showing like on the walls also, so you're watching the screen, but then it also projects on the walls. Hey, Missy. So you look around, it's almost like a 3D effect. It was pretty cool with Captain Marvel. It was the first time I'd ever seen anything like that. It was cool. So have it be something like that with Rebel Moon. I think that'd be great. It look like a big sci-fi spectacular like that. Yeah, I can have it to where I can look over here and
that
see
sounds
the
like
thing
we agree. The other movies I like seeing in theaters is like I once went and saw Miami Connection in theaters, and that was fun because people were dressed up, people were laughing. You know what I mean? That was like a shared audience experience.
Right. That was like me with
kind of like
Matrix.
Was it Rocky Horror Picture Show?
Yeah.
That's one that people go see and they dress up and stuff like that.
Yeah.
I think those are kind of fun.
Right.
But I think that's an audience thing.
Yeah.
So also in the news, well, by the way, let us know. Would you guys go see a theatrical release of Rebel Moon? I'm honestly interested. I know fellow nerd Rob really is hoping to have that happen. Obviously he's a massive Snyder head though, so
right.
I
would if it's a spectacle.
Right. Neil Blomkamp says District 10 is on hold indefinitely.
No.
I know. Direct quote, I don't know if I even want to make that right
now. Stop it.
But at some point down the line, it'll probably get made. So he's obviously he has other artistic endeavors he's passionate about. But it does sound like he wants to make it eventually.
District 9 is probably one of my favorite sci-fis of the new century. It was so good. So good.
I saw it with my buddy after work and back the place we used to work at together.
Yep.
Me
too.
Because there was that
the theater
Mexican
that was right
place.
there.
Well, there's a theater and there's a Mexican place across from it. So me and Jeff used to go and we would get food at the Mexican place and we'd walk over and see it. And we were like, should we see that or should we see G.I. Joe? Now, I like G.I. Joe. That movie was dope as hell. I will defend that movie till to my grave. But Jesus Christ, like I came out of that movie and I was like, that's one of the best movies I've seen in the past 10 years.
Right. Such a good movie.
Such a good movie. Very dark. The thing, and so fellow nerd at Real Super Killers and I were talking about this because have you read his book yet?
Which one?
At Real Super Killers. Have you read his book yet?
What's his book?
Super Killers. Clearly not.
No.
Check his book out. He watches our show. He considers himself one of our fellow nerds. We talk all the time on Twitter. He's gonna at some point he wants to come on our show. He just released chapter 3, by the way. But anyway, we were talking about because his main character in his book is a villain, hardcore villain.
Nice.
He's written a book where the protagonist, not like Black Adam, where he's like, I'm a bad guy,
right?
And you're like, we'll do something bad guy. No, this guy is a killer.
Right.
His name is Jack, and we were talking about it. And I said, it's interesting reading a book where the main character is someone I don't like.
Right.
It's different because he's not a villain per se. He's more of an asshole. But Wickus, the lead in District 9, is a complete and utter, like, you hate him, you know? Like,
right.
He's a piece of shit.
He's a piece of
you
shit.
meet him, he's this, like, weenie dick, like, you just don't like.
Right.
But as, like, the movie progresses, I don't know if you ever like him, but you
empathize with him. Right.
Well, I by the end, I was like, come on, you know? And like it fires the rocket and whoosh, grabs it and it blows up. You know what I mean?
That mech suit and the gun, the weapons in that movie were just fucking incredible. That's gonna be a Behold nerd soon. So that director, what's the name? Neil Blomkamp. He sort of suffered from that M. Night Shyamalan complex, where his first movie was his best movie, then everything that followed was just kind of subpar.
I disagree about subpar. Chappie was fucking dope in my opinion. I know not everybody agrees with that. I love Chappie.
I wanted to like it more. I really wanted to like it more. But you know what? That actually...
It did the same thing, though, because Ninja and Yolandi, you meet them and you hate them.
Yeah.
And then, but then again, by the end of the movie, I'm rooting for them.
Right.
And I like, my whole opinion on them has changed. Maybe even more so than in with Wickus, because Wickus I still hated. I guess I still think Ninja's a piece of shit, but like Yolandi specifically, like, I definitely fell for it. I think Chappie's awesome. Definitely one of my favorite movies.
That'll be maybe that'll be like a fun little Behold nerds again.
Elysian was alright. Well, see, I would say that's the weakest of those three. But I rewatched it recently, and I was like, you know, this is a fucking solid movie too.
So, did you hear the rumor? Apparently, years ago, Neil Blomkamp was in talks to doing an Aliens sequel.
Yeah,
was supposed to somehow
I think he would have done a good job.
I think he would have been fantastic at it.
But I think he likes to put a lot of social commentary in his movies, obviously, because each one, like Elysian, was about like, you know,
big pharma or some shit, or was it? Was that the immigration one?
Immigration, yeah. It was about like an us, there's them, rich, immigration.
Yeah,
obviously the wealthy are on Elysium, the big ring world, and then down here on Earth, it's like we all speak Spanish and we're all poor and like,
right.
You know, I mean, pretty obvious,
right?
And then District 9 obviously was about apartheid, and then what was it? Chappie was about AI, and and like, yeah, he likes that kind of realm.
Well, you could do. There's a little bit of social commentary in Aliens. I mean, you got the big, just soulless corporation trying to. So I think he would have been able to really sort of capture that best. Just God, tragic. That's probably never going to happen. But I know we shall.
Well, I hope he makes District 10 because I want to know what happens. Obviously, at the end, spoilers for those who haven't seen this. By the way, at Real Super Killers, he's like, oh, I've never seen them. Go see the fucking movie. You have to. He's like, it's on my list.
So here, we'll do this. Frosty's going to link me the stuff so I can read your comics. You watch District 9. We can meet in the middle. Boom, 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 boom.
Yeah, actually, I'm trying to remember what it was. He's given me a book that he said I need to read because it's all about villains. And I was like, oh, I bet you Caps read it because you're Star Wars Legacy. Have you read Star Wars Darth Plagueis?
Maybe. No, actually, I have not read that one.
Yeah. Okay. Well, he said this is. He
Like
says.
I know the guy. I know the cover. Let me
Yeah, he
just.
says, I present you with the greatest piece of media to feature not one but two complete, irredeemable, and evil protagonists. I thought that was interesting. I figured you might have read it, but
You know what? I
he
think
said
this might be one of the newer.
he said it's a Legends novel.
Is it? No,
Yeah,
I don't think I've read that one.
it's
Yeah, probably.
interesting. I might pick it up. I'm always looking for stuff to read at dialysis.
Mm.
But thank you, by the way, at Real Super Killers for the suggestion. When you watch our show, big shout out. If you haven't checked it out yet, make sure to check out his comic. Um, let me post his. Give me a second. I'll post
Yeah, post his
his Twitter
stuff.
handle.
Then post me the link to his page, and then I will read it while he watches District 9. Deal.
It's on his list. Like if you spend any time, because like Real Super Killers and I get into a lot of debates, and we're always suggesting stuff to each other. Anyway, so what else we got?
So, my
good.
youngling is here, and I mentioned the other day that she is going to be pitching an idea for a secret comic book society at her high school. It's like the Dead Poets Society, but with comics.
My words.
Her words.
Yes.
So, I remember the event. They were going to set up a bunch of tables in the quad, and each table is going to be a club, and they get to try to attract people to sign up and whatnot. So she wants to have her boombox, and they're all going to wear something, which is super cool. I told them that she needs to come out to the Superman theme, the da 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 da, just blast that crap throughout the crowd.
There's a big debate as to which is the superior theme. Oh God, who's the guy that wrote the score in
John Williams.
Man of Steel?
Oh, I have no idea.
Yeah, well, like a lot of people believe that's the superior score. I don't know if you can surpass the John Williams score,
Oh,
but
it's just so uplifting. That's Superman. Superman is uplifting.
yeah,
Da, da, da,
the Man of
da, da,
Steel
da,
one.
da, da, da.
You know, it's funny. I was talking to a fellow nerd, Nick. He's been on our show. I think he went by Bear or something. Standard Bear. Anyway, so it was funny because Joe and I were singing it, and I was surprised because Joe doesn't know anything. But we were doing the like dun, 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 and like but and then he was like, "That's not the Superman theme," and I was like, "It totally is the Superman thing. What are you talking about?" And he was like, "No, it's
Indiana Jones.
no, his Superman theme, and I can't."
Or is it the animated series?
It was the animated series, yeah.
Da 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 da
Yeah.
I mean that's a good one, but it's not.
It's a good one. The Man of Steel one, though. I mean, I can't think of it right now. I wish Rob was here. He could totally do it. I think it's a solid one. And a lot of people, like I said, they feel strongly that that's the superior one.
If you want to melt your head, start playing the Superman John Williams score in your head, and then switch over at some point to the Indiana Jones theme.
It was Hans Zimmerman.
Okay. Do that and then break your brain.
No, I know the Indiana. I used to have like back when I had CDs. I used to have like all these iconic like themes and stuff like that. And yeah, Indiana Jones. It does have a similar vibe.
Yeah.
I posted in the chat for you guys. Real Super Killers Twitter handle, as well as a link to his comics, so that way you guys can check it out. He just dropped, I think it was chapter 3. I'm not fully caught up on it, but I intend to. It's really cool, especially if you like I said, villain leads. Anyway, this is also in the news. For those of you guys that are fans of the Home Alone series, Home Alone 2 Lost in New York star Donald J. Trump.
Donald John Trump. John.
Oh,
Trump.
okay.
Yes.
Donald John Trump.
Yes.
Apparently, he was indicted, and there's some mugshots going around, so you guys can take a look.
So you know what? I saw this, and now I can use my words to describe it. Remember those Animorph books where you see like the kid like
Oh
starting
yeah.
up, see him like transitioning to reptile? Like the something about the lighting or his eyes just like if you have like the 5 different stages of Animorph where you have the human here and then like whatever goober here, I'd say he falls right around here, like he's morphing into something. I just can't tell what. It's just something about the lighting. But you know what? We wish him a speedy recovery. And moving on.
Yeah, well, I mean, it's nice to see what's happening with these old celebrities, you know. Like I haven't thought of Home Alone 2 in a long time.
I know. You know what? I would love to see because they're all still alive. That's the thing. So gather up. What's his name? Joe Pesci and my God, I forget the name of Mar, but then get Macaulay Culkin back and do a sequel to Home Alone, but have it be like kind of like a gritty, like modern day telling where maybe have it be like Saw type thing. Actually, there's that theory that
That he's
a
really
Saw
yeah.
But you know what's
Well-
funny in the in the newest Home Alone, even though I didn't watch it, I did hear a review about it. Now it is there is a tie-in to the original where Kevin is now like a security. Like a home security dealer or whatnot, so he sells home security systems to the neighborhood. And his what is his brother? My God, what was his brother's name? Buzz. His brother Buzz was a cop, and then there's a scene where apparently they're calling for a home invasion, but he says, my brother Kevin tries to fool me with this every year, and he just sort of dismisses it. So, yeah.
Yeah, I watched an indie film not recently. I mean, not too long ago, and it was Macaulay Culkin. I didn't recognize him at first. He shows up. He's like, I think they're in like Thailand, and like you don't. He just looks like some crazy dude, and then like he gets into like a Muay Thai kickboxing match like in the film. It's pretty weird. I don't know if they'd be able to get this Donald J. Trump guy back. I heard he's got some kind of political career or something going on, but
you know,
obviously,
I heard that he has gotten into a very lucrative NFT business. So I hope I wish him a speedy recovery.
All right. Mortal Kombat news for you guys.
Mortal Kombat Legacy. Yeah.
I'm sure you guys have heard this, but Homelander, Omni-Man, and Peacemaker are going to be in the show. In the game. Now people are concerned because Homelander and Omni-Man have a similar power set.
They're not the same.
Well, they're saying they absolutely will play different. And so that's good. I know that John Cena is going to be blending his voice. I think the guy who played I forget his name, the actor did Omni-Man is also.
J.K. Simmons. Yep.
Yeah, the question is Anthony Starr gonna come back for do the voice for Homelander? I hope so, because it's nice when they lend their actual voices.
You know, it's so weird seeing him in just like interviews and shit because he's such a normal dude. Like it throws me off because that's how well he plays that character.
Have you seen the videos of what's the Republican nominee?
Donald J. Trump?
No. The
DeSantis.
Oh God. Yeah, DeSantis.
Yes.
So people have been taking.
I know where you're going.
People have been taking videos of him talking.
He's just like Homelander.
Yeah, and they've been trying Homelander. Anthony Starr with his like little facial tics and stuff like that. Like, you could see the seething rage underneath it.
It's such a weird method acting. It's like what Christian Bale did with American Psycho. He's channeling into something. Like it's very method, but every time I see that particular candidate, all I see is Homelander. It's
incredible. Those little facial tics.
Right.
It looks exactly like Anthony Starr's portrayal of Homelander.
It's
the fact, and like it made me like
kind
further appreciate Anthony Starr as an actor. Like, you know what I mean?
It changes how you view the world. Some when media, or not media, but when cinema just plays so true to reality that you see it. Mm-hmm. It's just he does a phenomenal job. It's just like the kid who played Joffrey. Like you see him in interviews, and he's like the nicest dude, but everybody hates him because he's doing a good job. Like
I know I said it before, but every time I watch Batman Begins and Batman's like sitting there with Joffrey, I'm like, stop him, Batman! Stop him! But yeah, I know what you mean. Like Lena Headey, the one who played Cersei, she gets a lot of shit too from people. I know, it's like they're actors. Jesus Christ!
Right. So I've talked about this. The remake of Lost in Space. I love Lost in Space, but their depiction of Dr. Smith was just so reminiscent of people that I've dealt with. I just couldn't watch it anymore. That doesn't mean that I'm going to, rabble this actor. No, she did a very good job portraying this character in a different way that was very real to me, that I've actually seen in real life before. And it just made me physically just,
You know what I can't do is, and you can say I have a vagina if you want. I don't
That's
care.
okay. You are what you eat, sir.
I'm a romantic at heart, like, and so when I'm watching certain things like The Office, for example,
right?
I love The Office. I thought that show was great. So, in like towards the end of the show, you watch one character's like kind of romantic pursuit after another character. They get together at the end of one season. The next season, they're like, for no reason, in my opinion, they start like trying to push the characters apart. And so I knew they'd split up. So I was just like, well, I'm not watching this anymore. I've never seen the last few episodes of that because I didn't want it to happen.
Right.
And I do that a lot. Like, I've been rewatching.
Like your ending is better than the ending they're going to give you.
I just don't like it when like I've been so invested in this relationship and it starts to go south. Right. I don't want to watch what happens, so I turn it off. And I've done that with a lot of shows, or I've skipped over entire breakup episodes because I don't want to see it.
So how are you with watching Friends?
I mean I don't care about Friends. You know what though, I have watched it like as an adult, and I have to admit the writing on that show was fantastic. It may not be like what you want, but like there's some like the bit with like Joey where he meets his hand double and then he makes up that song like, this hand is my hand, no wait, that's your hand, or is it my hand? It's hilarious.
God, you just made me remember something that I hadn't thought of in like 30 years. Damn. That's funny.
Yeah, so I do think the writing on that show is excellent. But anyway, what were we talking about?
Puppies.
Mortal Kombat. So also in video game news, Zack Snyder wants to make a Gears of War movie.
Oh,
you be down? I haven't played a lot of the Gears series. I'm not gonna lie.
So here's what bothered me about Gears of War, is that after the third one, when we had closure, they said, now let's keep making more. And I stopped caring. I love Gears of War. So good. So good. I mean, yeah. Do it. Give Zack Snyder all the money. Who do you cast as, God, because you need big, beefy dudes to...
You're not going to be able to replicate that.
Just big, fleshy...
I mean, yeah, you need beefy dudes, but I mean, they're I don't know if you can call it idealism, but it basically is idealism. It's that comic book style where they take it too far.
Yeah.
They're over beefed. So you're not going to be able to
over beefed.
You're not going to be able to make it look
right. I know
like that, but yeah, I mean, like, yeah, you need to get big beefy guys, and I don't know if I have any casting. I mean, you'd want it to you want it to pull in those like classic '80s vibes, like, you know, like right. Predator. Like you want that kind of look.
Who is your favorite of the squad?
I didn't play that much. I played one of them a little bit, and I lost interest. I know people love it.
I like Baird. Baird was my favorite. He was just the asshole mechanic. Great haircut. Anyways.
But yeah, I do think Zack Snyder would be a great director for it. So,
just yeah, make it happen. Chop. I'm glad that we're getting more Snyder. Like, Fresh Snyder. Let's call it Fresh Snyder.
Yeah, I think I like it when he does.
Like his own thing without.
Well, like Rebel Moon, and yeah, we'll get into that in a minute.
Yeah.
But yeah, that's good. I also like the zombie series, even though I
It's
mean, he
breaking
clearly did
every
it on
rule.
purpose. But like, yeah, all the unfired Chekhov's guns.
Right.
That was annoying, but I mean, I think he was doing it just to like mess with people.
Yeah.
Like,
Watch that
here's
movie.
this awesome bladed saw thing,
So
and
I've come to realize that you need to watch that movie. It's almost like, God, it's almost like Zack Snyder is doing a Mel Brooks satire. Like that's
yeah,
what that kind of reminds me, because it's so just stupidly meta like that, where it's like, oh, I'm setting up this thing, and never goes in. There's no
well,
payoff. It's like
I
a
want more
kilter
from
movie.
that though, because the whole point of that movie is there was a whole nother side to it we didn't see with the first team,
Right.
and like what was their story. I want to know.
Right.
And then also we had the second movie, which was about the locksmith,
Right.
the master, like the guy that could get into the vault,
Right.
and that and the only zombies in that movie was there was a news story about, hey, look, there's zombies,
Right.
and that was it. And I just think that it's such a unique idea that like here's the end of the movie essentially in this crazy heist thing, and then oh, like after we do that we get prequels about the different characters, and then like, oh, what was the line that they said where they come back and they see them and they're like, oh, this team failed, and they're like, what if we're them and stuff like that.
Yeah.
And it's yeah, like there's so much to explore. Like, where is the rest of that series? You know?
Right. Are we getting another one of those anytime soon?
I thought we were. I haven't looked it up. If anybody knows, let us know, because I would love to know. I personally thought it was clever.
Zack Snyder, if you tune into the Pitch Nerds, you message us directly and let us know when we can expect to see a third installment of that. Let us help you out with Gears of War. Like, I'll help you with Gears of War. It'd be great.
So yeah, what do you guys think? Is that something you guys would like to see? So okay. Additionally, a trailer for the live-action Fallout series was just shown at Gamescom. So apparently, it included the Brothers of Steel marching across the desert.
Okay.
Their vertibird vehicles.
Okay.
Walton Goggins' ghoul character, who looks similar to Fallout 4's John Hancock.
Okay.
And apparently multiple nuclear explosions.
Nice.
So I know you're a fan of Fallout. You looking forward to the live action series? Are you looking forward to the trailer? Like, what are your thoughts, Kat?
I just make it good. I can see the trailer in my head. I'm just trying to think of what 50s like old timey song it's going to be playing to.
Oh, you saw the Gamescom trailer?
No. I'm just saying, if I were to make a Fallout trailer, it would be backdrop with the nukes and everything, and just that 1950s, just sort of just American, just suburban lifestyle. But then have it back playing some type of like old timey music. Yeah. So I'm just trying to figure out what song would they be playing for the Fallout trailer. Type of like old jitterbug music or something.
Jitterbug.
I don't know. It just I love Fallout. I just hated the one thing I hate about Fallout is trying to find springs. Make it easier to find springs. It sucks what happened in Fallout 76 because I really wanted to like
the last thing I remember. So I bought Fallout 4, and then Cap basically played the whole game that I bought. And but I remember going upstairs and you had like built your Fallout style Iron Man thing. You had all your different power armors.
Yeah. God, that's such a good game. Such a good game. What platform?
I mean, like Fallout to me, like the Bethesda Fallouts, I personally preferred Skyrim, but I'm more into fantasy.
Okay.
But I did enjoy playing Fallout. I did not like Fallout 76. I played a little bit if I got bored.
Yeah, this is so glitchy. But Fallout 4, I think, is
It,
probably
it's supposedly a lot better now. Like it's done in Old Man Sky, where it's like improved as time went on.
yeah,
A lot of games are like that nowadays.
yeah.
They released them too early.
But I don't know. That's cool. What platform is it going to be on?
No, it's a live action
Oh,
movie,
live
homie.
action. No, sorry, live action movie.
Yeah. So yeah, it's going to be a well, not movie, sorry, series, live action series. It's a
Right,
trailer that showed at GamersCon for a live action series based on Fallout.
right. But what
So we
platform
know
is it
that
going to be
Walter
on?
Goggins is playing a ghoul character, similar to John Hancock, and then, like I said, it's apparently going to have the Brother of Steel.
But is it going to be on
Brotherhood
like
of Steel.
a Hulu thing? Is this a Netflix thing?
I don't know. I just know that they're making it.
That's what I was wondering. Anyways.
So this is for you guys that are into retro nostalgia and all that kind of stuff.
Me.
The first 2 seasons of Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles from the the 80s cartoon,
The old school,
are releasing on Paramount Plus on September 19th. So I'm wondering how that'll do. I remember back when I used to watch TV on TV, when they released Voltron really late in the middle of the night on Adult Swim. I thought that was kind of fun to revisit. I don't know. Do you think you're gonna check it out, or are you? I mean, do you care?
So I'm not gonna lie. I might have found some of these episodes on YouTube already, and probably watched them within the past couple of weeks. It was a cheesy revisit. It's just as stupid as I remember, and I don't care because it's the Ninja Turtles. It's fun.
Okay. This is one of those unpopular opinions, and I know I'm weird and everything like that. I never liked Ninja Turtles, the cartoon. I guess maybe because my brother was like, "Here's Ninja Turtles," and he handed me like the old school comic.
Right.
And then I saw the cartoon, and I was like, "What is this?" You know what I mean? It was one of those.
Right.
Like the very first comic, like Michelangelo's first forcing shredded Harry carry him.
Right.
And like like it's very different.
So,
Did you know someone pointed out? I never knew this because you know how like the Ninja Turtles, like the comic anyway, is kind of like a parody of Daredevil. So much so that there's a theory that the thing that gave Daredevil
they're connected to the TGRI.
Yeah. But Casey Jones, he's Punisher. So obvious. How did I never notice that? His mask is even the Punisher.
Frosty, you just blew my fucking head right now.
I know. It's one of those things that you don't notice until someone points out, and you're like, "Holy fuck!"
Wow. Okay.
Another one of those that I was like, "How did I not fucking see this?"
Right.
Is in the Age of Ultron. And they're like, "Oh, what are you gonna do about Veronica and Veronica and Veronica?" And that's the Hulkbuster. You know why it's called Veronica?
Why?
Betty and Veronica.
Oh.
Right?
Oh. Okay.
Yeah, because Hulk and Betty, you know, like. I thought that was clever. But yeah, so I'm back to Ninja Turtles. I admire the Ninja Turtles as a brand. The 80s cartoon, it was just a little too goofy.
So I love the 80s cartoon, but thinking back right now, I think I actually love the toys more than I love the cartoon. Not to say that I didn't love the
toys
cartoon,
were dope.
But the toys were fucking cool as shit. There's like a dude with like a fucking detachable pizza box leg. He's like some mutant chef. There's just all these weird characters. It was almost like a spiritual successor of He-Man, because He-Man, you had all these weird, unique characters. It was sort of like a
He-Man, but also like they were all like these weird mutant things. Like it kind of I forget what that brand is, but the brand with like the like guy with the big and he's driving the car. Remember that?
Oh yeah.
It kind of reminded me of that branding. It's definitely a product of the 90s.
Like
there's a game
late 80s and early 90s when everything was becoming edgy and hardcore.
Yeah. There's a game my D&D group has talked about playing, like Mutants Masterminds, but there's specifically a TMNT version of it. And it's kind of interesting because like you roll what your mutation is, like, because you don't get to choose it, so like whatever animal is mixed in with you now,
right,
which I think is kind of cool.
That's cool.
Yeah, I guess I hang out with a cat a lot, so I'd probably be a cat person.
Okay.
Um,
The one that just sleeps all day and occasionally licks its own balls.
yeah.
Yeah.
That's what I'd do.
But you're really
Uh,
smart. You only need to be awake for 1 hour of the day to get everything done.
but anyway,
Anyway.
let us know if you guys are gonna check out TMNT.
So what was your did you have any of the toys? TMNT
Yeah,
toys?
yeah.
Okay, so what was your favorite? Pick your
Well, I
favorite.
mean, my favorite turtle was Leonardo. My favorite toy is I had one. I don't even know what the character was,
Mm,
but it was like a Triceratops man.
okay.
And then I also had Krang.
I
And
think
like
everybody
I
had
think
Krang, but it wasn't like the body Krang. It was just Krang like little
you
legs.
had to buy the body
Yeah.
separately. Yeah, but the it was like I remember because the first one I got was Krang because that was the one my mom bought me.
Same
And
too.
I think actually looking back at it, it's a really cool toy, a little brain and this little like walking thing.
Yeah.
Um, but like I remember getting like I was at the playground or whatever in some kind of daycare group, and all these kids were playing, and I said, "Can I play with you guys?" And they said, "Do you have any Ninja Turtles?" And I said, "I have Krang," and then they kicked me out, and I wasn't allowed to play with them. Hurts me to this day.
That's a
Um,
shame. I would have played with you. Um, God, so
but yeah,
you know what's funny is the one character I might have mentioned this on the show before, but the one figure that I absolutely wanted, what everybody on the schoolyard seemed to want, was April O'Neil, just because she came with a handgun. Like it was the coolest. She came with a briefcase and a handgun, and you could put the handgun in the briefcase. It just blew our fucking minds. So whenever I would play my Ninja Turtles, it was always April O'Neil with the gun, and she was actually on point with the Ninja Turtles, sort of like behind her, like she was the point because she had the gun. So I don't know. I played with my toys weird, but
so unfortunately, well, fortunately, unfortunately, April O'Neil did like spark some young sexual like awakenings in me
mm,
as a young Frosty
mm,
because she was drawn very suggestively.
yeah,
She was cool as shit, hung out in sewers, like didn't give she wasn't like,
right,
oh my god. And she was always getting tied up,
right.
Like,
Yeah.
yeah, it definitely shaped some questionable thoughts in my brain. Uh, and apparently, I'm not alone. Like,
You know, and here we are, getting to enjoy it. You know what's funny because I have the arcade one up, the mini of Ninja Turtles downstairs, and if you remember the graphic art for it features a live action April O'Neil wearing the yellow was it duster, and she's got the studio camera.
the speed suit, yeah.
Yeah, and she's doing her one of these, but God, it's such a horrible wig. Like I didn't even realize it until I owned it. I'm looking at the side art of this game. It looks fucking terrible. This with the wig, I have to sneeze. This wig just looks silly. It looks silly, but you know it's Ninja Turtles. It's great. I don't even think the colors match up with the turtles, and one of them's eating pizza, and it just looks so weird. But
Originally, they all had red bandanas.
yeah.
Um,
So
um,
I've noticed movies starting to do a thing where the climax isn't about the heroes but themselves; it's about everybody else around them helping the heroes to overcome the thing. Like I'm seeing
yeah,
that
sometimes.
more and more, and it's nice. I actually do kind of like seeing it. Just don't overplay it, but it's something that I've been seeing more and more in things that I'm watching, and I like it. It's a unity thing. I think it's to kind of subconsciously show everybody, hey, you know what? If something bad happens, we're all going to unite to help, take out the thing. We are
Mhm.
capable of doing that. So I don't know. It's refreshing for me to see it.
Well,
But
do you have any news for us, Cap?
yeah, mm, nah, nah,
All right.
nah. Let's
So
jump out.
let's jump into some reviews, yeah.
Yeah.
All right.
So,
So
hold on, really quick before we get too wound up, I did see Barbie. My thoughts: it was great. Was it Schindler's List? No, but was it awesome? Yes. The music, fantastic. Margot Robbie, hot. My goodness, Ken, who's the actor that played Ken, who plays Ken. Help me.
Isn't there like 100 Kens?
No, but the main Ken. Anyways.
Oh, I forget. Yeah, the guy that was in Driver or whatever.
Yeah,
Ryan Gosling.
Yeah, Ryan Gosling, fantastic. Holy shit, fantastic. Addressing the viewers of Fox News, let me assure you that when Weird Barbie showed the map of the world, and it shows China, and you see the dots, and some of the people that you had on your show said that, oh, there's only 8 islands there. This is clearly the Chinese propaganda. Derpa 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 derp. This movie is pandering to China. Blah blah blah. Anti-Taiwan. Blah 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 blah. When in reality, you know, if you have like a map, like a cartoon map, and you have like little dotted lines that kind of take you around to follow the dotted lines, it was just dotted lines. And guess what? Yes, there were some dotted lines off the coast of Asia. It was just big colored crayon Asia. There was also some dotted lines to the west of Africa. I don't know any dotted lined islands off the west of Africa. It just looked like little dotted lines, like somebody's following a map. So to those of you,
I have no idea what you're talking about.
No, so there, I remember watching this thing on Fox News where people were complaining.
I mean, but like you just defeated the point of the conversation right there.
Right.
I was watching this thing on Fox News. Right, of course it's stupid.
Right, I know. Yeah. So I went into this movie looking for the specific scene, because it was just one of those things that one of my news pundits on YouTube had talked about Fox News addressing in their endless rabble of, oh, feminist wokeism, blah, blah, blah. It's like, it's a fucking Barbie movie. I'll tell you this. The beginning and the end of this movie are my favorite parts of this movie. It's so good, and everything in between is so good. Is it silly? Yes. Is it in spirit of the Lego movie in a lot of ways? Yes. Is it pushing a feminist woke agenda? No, it's fucking Barbie. Like,
I mean, honestly, I have zero interest in this movie.
Oh, but you know what? If you were to watch it, you'd love it. Probably not love it, but I bet you'd really enjoy it. Once it's,
I'll watch it if it comes out for free to watch.
Yeah.
But I'm not gonna like rent it.
Right. It is good. But anyways, my
review, what's your rating?
Shut up and take my money. So good. But
so I kind of want to talk Ahsoka.
Yeah.
So Ahsoka episodes 1 and 2 dropped. Part 1 was called Master and Apprentice.
Mm-hmm.
Part 2 was called Toil and Trouble. Now, spoilers, I've never seen what it's called, Star Wars Rebels.
So I have seen some of Rebels. Didn't finish it, but I know loosely what happens towards the end with Ezra and Thrawn and company.
Well, I've heard people saying like they don't, they feel like these are people trying to act like characters in a cartoon.
Right.
I can't weigh in on any of that. All I can do is look at Ahsoka for Ahsoka.
Mm-hmm.
And my impression was I liked the characters. I thought the action was decent. It definitely it captures that kind of Western samurai kind of feel,
right?
Which I expect in Star Wars,
right?
And I really liked the influence, which I guess we haven't seen before, of like Arthurian legend, because we've got the witches, and then later we see that guy and his name is Merrick, and if you know, and like her name's Morgana, and if you remember from King Arthur, like he turned a wolf into Morgana turned a wolf into a knight named Merrick. And Merrick I thought was the coolest one because he looks like it looks like a badass snake eyes with the fucking thing. And it captures some of the badass moments, like zoom, throws the thing, and then
she just it's coming back just like
thing. Yeah, she does that Anakin thing where she just moves and like
it just whizzes by her.
So yeah, cool. And then I liked Sabine. People, I liked I was like, oh, she's a Mandalorian. That's dope.
Yeah.
I liked the robot character who was like, just dropping realism bombs, but like at the same time in a way that was like pissing her off.
Right.
Yeah, there was a lot I've dug in this show, and I'm excited for more. But go ahead. What are your thoughts?
I love this show. My only complaint so again, if Star Wars is a pizza, you have to sort of pick and choose the toppings. My only complaint is that the dialogue feels a little wooden. That's okay. It reminds me a lot of Episode 1 with as far as like the stoic delivery. I would love to see just a little bit, a spoonful more character, a tiny bit. But other than that, I loved it. People were complaining about the the speeder bike scene with Sabine. I fucking loved it. People are saying, "Oh,
Oh,
rabble, rabble!
cool. I didn't know
They're
people
playing metal music in Star Wars." Okay, it's a big galaxy. Oh, we're seeing. Okay, Star Wars has metal music now. Cool. I thought it was a badass scene. I fucking loved it.
I
I,
thought it was cool.
I'm pretty sure they were flying E-wings, which is weird. That blew my head. Like, why are they? They're flying E-wings. That's cool. That's a cool introduction. If that's an E-wing, that's a weird way to use an E-wing for something like that, because E-wings are just super powerful. Like they're experimental, but probably changed the lore. But I thought that was a cool scene. I fucking loved it. I don't like the cartoonish mural of them because it looks like it was just something pulled out of the cartoon, just put into the show. It's a little silly.
I didn't. It looked like something that, like, I guess to me, it looked like something that they got amateur artists to do.
Yeah,
And that was because I've seen murals like that,
yeah.
like where
I get it. It's just but the villains in this are so good, so good. I think we're getting into the Gray Jedi. I think fellow nerd Adrian was talking about. I haven't read too much into this. I want to go in without.
So I have to bring it up because this. So fellow nerd, well, his screen name is RRTNZ, but his handle is at Eponymus. If you follow us on Twitter, we got into the longest debate, and I told him I'm going to try and I know a scientist. Sounds like you know a couple. Mine might be harder to reach because it's through an ex-girlfriend. But I'm going to try. I told him we'd reach out and maybe get to the bottom of this. And you're the expert, so I'm dying to hear your opinion on this. The scene where what's her name? Sabine is fighting the other. It's Apprentice versus Apprentice, right? And they're fighting,
right?
And then she gets run through the chest. Spoiler: she gets run through the chest,
right?
Now, when I watched it, I didn't question it at all because my brain immediately went, okay, so it was to the right, and I know it went through her organ, it went through her lung, and then she turns it off. And so, because the lightsabers instantly cauterized, the lung would have been sealed, so she's not going to bleed out. It takes a long time to die from like an impalement, like if you were to be put on a bike. If it wasn't a lightsaber, she would have bled out almost instantly, and also she wouldn't have been able to breathe. But the lung would have been sealed, so she could still breathe.
I mean, I could be that guy. Okay.
So she and then people are like, oh, Qui-Gon, but that went through his heart and his spine, which would kill you. But she had Ahsoka not been there, I think she would have died. But Ahsoka was there, so she could have gotten medical attention pretty quickly, and it wouldn't have been instantly fatal from what I saw. Now he is claiming this went on for like a day. He believes that lightsabers are so hot that it would have cooked her inside. She would have died instantly from system shock. Now, I point out, lightsabers don't radiate heat.
No.
So
the official, at least it used to be, is that it's the way George Lucas described it is that it's sort of encased within like its own magnetic field.
Yeah, it's a plasma beam encased within a force field, essentially.
Yeah.
And that's why it doesn't radiate heat, and that's been confirmed in the books.
Right.
They've even mentioned it, like the blade, and also like they're holding him next to their faces and stuff.
Right.
But anyway, so the reason that it doesn't cook her insides, in my opinion, is it stabs in, all the flesh is instantly vaporized. Any gas that would be there would come out or be pushed out through the wound. And gas is a poor thermal conductor, so it would cool rapidly. Not to mention the what's called the Leidenfrost effect. But additionally, so there's nothing to cook. Like, she wouldn't be cooked. Yeah, there would be a burn and it would have been cauterized, but it's not going to like cook her entire insides. He maintains, because of the scene in A New Hope, where the metal and they're burning and he's saying the heat would radiate outward and she'd be cooked. But I say the reason that happens is because it's metal, it's not flesh. So the metal melts instead of being vaporized. So it stays into contact with the blade. So the molten metal keeps heating outward. Anyway, your thoughts.
So remember when Obi-Wan Kenobi sliced off Ponda Bob's arm and it showed an arm and it
There
was
was
in a
blood.
pool of
Yeah, I
blood?
pointed that out too.
Yeah. So I feel like lightsabers aren't as fatal as they used to be. So it felt like somebody had mentioned it in the group chat earlier when I was skimming through it. Like Qui-Gon was stabbed one hit. You have Kit Fisto. You have that other dude with the horns. His name I forget. When Palpatine went after them, boom, boom. You stab them each one at a time. Yeah, I feel like their lethality. It was one of those things where it felt like if you got hit with a lightsaber, it was an instant kill. Because maybe it was the heat that was distributed from it. Again, going back to episode 1 with the metal. It's sort of one of those things where George Lucas didn't know what he created until people started questioning things like, well, what do you mean a parsec? That doesn't make any sense. Well, what do you mean it's a this? If it's a this, then why is there a that? So I think it's just sort of Lucas's way of not knowing what he created and trying to explain it later. If that makes any sense.
I get what you're saying, but I mean, looking at what we know about how it functions,
yeah,
it makes perfect sense to me why she survived.
So okay, so here's my frame of mind. I can accept under the Disney rule now that lightsabers in my head feel like they've been depowered, because we saw this in Obi-Wan also, where lady gets stabbed and it looks really bad and she's fine. And same thing with the other guy who got stabbed, the Inquisitor, and somehow he was still alive. Just lightsabers don't feel like they're the powerhouse that they used to be. That's fine. So
I feel like me and you are discussing two separate things.
No. We're talking about the same thing. Just, and I'm coming at it from a different perspective is all. So I can accept that Sabine, under your circumstances, can survive the thing, because Disney has now established that, hey, being hit with a lightsaber is no longer a fatal blow, as established earlier on in Lucas stuff. So, yeah, she was stabbed, she survived, and she seemed fine the next scene. It's small potatoes.
No, she was. Look, without the medical aid.
So
sci-fi medical aid.
So here's how I can see it, and this is actually how I once I saw the scene, how I sort of interpreted it. Because Ahsoka is a Force wielder. I'm sure Ahsoka probably knows a way to, because they've established now under Disney canon that is old canon too, but Force healing, Force stabilization. I'm sure Ahsoka lent the Force in some way or shape or form to stabilize Sabine, to make sure she got to a place she needed to go for further treatment. I'm okay with that. In my head, that's fine.
I guess I'm talking about the physics and the mechanics of how something works. Why it makes sense.
Okay.
And that's what I'm talking about. Because this is why we want to send it to a scientist to get their opinion.
Okay.
Because like, what I'm saying is, what we know about these weapons, they don't radiate heat. And but anything they touch, like if they touch metal, it melts.
Right.
And what I'm saying is, if it's that hot that it melts metal, it vaporizes flesh.
Right.
So it never actually. So flesh isn't going to sit there and stay touched to it, and because it no longer interacts with gas, that you're not going to get superheated.
Right.
Now, if she just went whoop, then she would die for sure, because she would have been cut in half. She didn't. Right. She turned off her lightsaber,
right.
So it traveled back along that path. What our fellow nerd here is saying is that just getting stabbed with a lightsaber should be so hot it should cook you.
Right.
But what I'm saying is, based on that one factor, that it doesn't interact with gas and it would vaporize the flesh instantly, I don't think it would. And that's what I'm saying.
I don't think George Lucas knew either, because the first time we see a lightsaber used, it cuts off a dude's arm and it's sitting in a puddle of blood.
Right, I understand that.
So that's why I treat Star Wars as it is, which is a science fantasy. It does silly things like that, and it's sort of
beyond. But what I'm saying is, that scene doesn't make sense. I fully agree. This scene does, is what I'm saying.
Right.
And then my other point is that like you can go, oh yeah, well that, why are you overthinking this and blah 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 blah.
Because it's what you do. You're
That's
Frosty.
fun.
Yeah.
I mean, why is
No,
like how does Mjolnir work? You
like
know, what
we're
are our theories there?
we're having fun right now. This is great.
Yeah, but
No, so I mean, George.
well, okay. I guess my question is though, and I'm not talking plot, and I'm not talking about George Lucas. I'm not talking any of that.
Right.
Based on your understanding of how lightsabers function, should she or should she not have died instantly?
So, since the lore has changed, it is now conceivable. And given that the lore has changed, and given the situation that Disney presented to us, I can accept the scene for
I
what it
don't.
was. I can
What
I can
wait,
accept the scene for
but
what
what
it
am
was.
I getting? Okay, what am I getting wrong? Because see, to me that's lightsabers all the way through.
Right.
I don't see what's changed.
So here's the thing. When it comes to Star Wars, my brain doesn't try to wrap the science around it because it's wrapped in fantasy.
Right.
It's inconsistent, and we're saying this one thing, but then I harken back to the first time we ever saw it, and it's in a puddle of blood. It doesn't make
Yeah,
any
yeah,
sense.
yeah.
So my
No, no, no,
brain.
no. That I think doesn't make sense.
But
Because,
right, but it's also the same thing with going on with oh, I made the Kessel Run in less than 12 parsecs. That makes no sense. It's a measurement of distance. Parsec just
yeah,
sounds
yeah.
cool to the layman human who thinks, oh, well, that sounds like a space word, like a space time. No, that's not that. And then what Lucas had to do then was go back and try to explain something that was never meant to be explained. So
I understand all that. I just
so
it's not. I
that's
guess
kind
I'm not getting
no,
satisfied by that
no,
answer.
but see, I'm sorry, but that's just how that's just sort of how I treat Star Wars right now. With that, is like the scene happened, I can explain in my head. Okay, Ahsoka was there. Maybe Ahsoka, maybe force stabilized her to get her to treat.
I don't care about the medical side of things because I think if you could survive long enough, we don't know what medical technology they had available right there.
Right.
Maybe she did force healing. All of that I'm fine with.
Right.
I'm specifically talking about.
Would she
I guess
survive the impalement?
Well, no, like so we've seen lightsabers
Right.
in Star Wars for a long time.
Yes.
Yeah, there's that scene with Panda Baba Bear or whatever the fuck his name is.
Panda Mono, what?
Yeah, yeah. the guy on the walrus guy.
Man.
But he gets yeah. So that's like, and yeah, we see blood, but the thing is that's kind of an early like they didn't do it right then. But since then, we've established the lightsabers, like they don't give off heat. They're plasma beams. They can melt metal. Like I guess everything has made sense with the exception of that to me in lightsabers.
Yeah.
And then when we get to this one, I watched it. This is why I'm annoyed by this. Because I watched it and I was like, oh yeah, that makes sense. And then like all of a sudden I go online. Even frickin' Adrian posts something about it this morning. I'm like, it made perfect sense. like, and I feel like people didn't like see it, think it through. Like I don't know.
So my short answer is I saw the scene, my brain found a way to cope with it, and it moved on. I think that's
I guess
my
I don't
short.
think there should have been anything to cope with. I guess is my point. I
I
was nodding along in agreement. Like yep. And, like again, had the part that like maybe you could argue like she's got her lightsaber in her.
Yeah.
And then she's like she sees the thing and then she just turns it off. Yeah, just to do that. Right. Then it's over. Right. Like because then you're cutting a heart in half. Like how you be able you couldn't reattach it. There's nothing you could do.
Yeah, can I just point out my favorite character is Chopper? I love Chopper. He's probably one of my favorite from Rebels. So, Mrs. Cat.
Well, we've gone on this rant long enough.
Yeah, so,
I'm going to try and get to the answer on the physics of this scene if it kills me. We're going to try it. I've talked to a few people. We're going to do that. Another one that fellow nerd RR TNZ brought up is he wanted to know the physics on the sun
from Spider-Man 2.
From Spider-Man 2. I do think I possibly have a solution. This is a tangent.
So I think the way it was described in the movie was that there's a strong enough magnetic field to keep the radiation from, or the heat or something from escaping.
Well, yeah, but like he was trying to douse it and how would water. Like I think the question is did the containment drop? But also if the containment didn't drop, it actually makes a lot of sense because some of the desirable things about fusion is if the containment did drop, the reaction would stop. Right. And as we see it just floats down glowing.
Right.
So I don't think containment ever dropped. But that's another one we'll try and figure out. I'm gonna make this a segment where we try and like get answers to these things. I found NASA sites where I can contact Neil deGrasse Tyson.
Neil deGrasse Tyson, come join us on the pitch, nerds.
I'm going for Bill Nye, the fucking
Michio
science
Kaku.
guy.
If you get Michio Kaku on here,
the girl from Blossom.
Yeah,
I mean,
like a neuroscientist. Yes.
Well, no, she is like an actual.
Yeah, she's a neuroscientist. Yeah, she's a brain doctor.
Yeah. Oh, and also the lightsaber question. I won't see him until next month, but he's a huge nerd. Shout out to Dr. Namazi, my nephrologist. If you're watching this, could you answer the question? But I'm going to pick your brain about it when I next see you. And then, well, because I figure he's a doctor, so you might know how things interact with the body.
But then again, do you know? No, actually, never mind.
The hard part is when you think about it, like, because I brought it up, is it doesn't act like a real thing,
right?
Because you can't have something that is that hot that doesn't radiate heat,
right?
And that's the hard part. That's where like the theoretical aspects. But you could look up like what happens to a plasma cutter against human flesh.
Oh yeah,
but that's not a lightsaber. Anyway, rating. It's okay.
Though the acting is a tiny bit wooden. Shut up and take my money.
It's just shut up and take my money. I had a great time. I didn't notice wooden acting. I actually really liked the characters overall. I felt everybody interacted well. Like you said, great villains, great heroes.
So people were complaining that Ahsoka was standing too much with her arms crossed. It's like, but that's her stance. Yeah, that's what she does. No, that's her character. That's what she does. She's always.
Yeah, that's what I can see what you're saying. Like, she is wooden, but I felt like she was supposed to be wooden.
Yeah, but you see her when she's. I just want more Ahsoka. Just I get you're stoic now, okay, but you can still have some snips in you, just a little bit.
I guess I felt like she's balanced by Sabine, who's kind of the wild spirit, and yeah, I don't know. I enjoyed it. I think it's also interesting that we have a Jedi learning to be Mandalorian and Grogu, and now we have a Mandalorian learning to be Jedi
from Ahsoka, right?
And so I thought that was interesting,
right?
But anyway,
it's Shut Up and Take My Money. The music was great. I will say this kind of side note. As I'm writing Quantum, I always envision, like, if this were ever like a TV show, like what the credits would look like. And I was watching the end credits last night to Ahsoka, or just sort of like going from solar system to solar system and kind of expanding and opening up. I'm like, that's exactly what I kind of envisioned for something like Quantum, just kind of going through like each system and sort of, okay, here's all this, and then it kind of bounces over here, here's all this. So I saw that fun little inspirational nugget.
No, I loved it. Looking forward to more of the show. I thought the first 2 episodes were really strong, and I want to see more of Merrick. I think it's cool.
Even though it was clearly woke, and it just was pushing a feminist agenda with having just portrayals of nothing but strong female protagonists. Rabble.
I hate even talking about that shit, but like, to my point, I always think like, if there was a show where there was 3 dude leads, you wouldn't question it,
right?
You know, and so yeah, you have to flip it. But anyway,
it was good. It was good. Just a little wooden on the dialogue, but other than that, it's phenomenal. Good Star Wars. Good world building. Just showing the set pieces, and that's one thing that I think these shows are starting to get better at, is actually kind of showcasing the planets. Oh my goodness, what was the planet?
We got to move on, dude.
All right, fine.
My Adventures Superman episodes 8 and 9, 0 Day 1 and 2.
So good.
So those are the 2-parter. Oh man, what to say? Well, so for me, these 2 episodes, especially episode 9, is my favorite one, and I feel like it's in this show we've been watching Clark step into the identity of Superman.
Kind of find out who he is.
I feel like episode 9 is the episode where he realizes Superman for the first time.
Right.
And I loved it. I mean, this show, at first I was like, yeah, that was pretty good. And then each week it's brought me back, and I've gotten more and more into it. and I mean, I freaking love it. This was it was an awesome episode. People are upset because like, oh, that's not how Parasite. I don't care. It was good. You know, like
So
it's a reimagining. So I don't care about like them not being exactly like they are
so
in the
here's the thing:
comics.
they're not dismissing the previous incarnations of Parasite because they've already established a multiverse. This is this universe's version of Parasite.
I mean, even
Move
if
on.
they don't even have to because
Right, but
it's not
but
the
but they
same universe. We
right
know that from the
right, but
outset.
they established it. So I'm okay with there being differences. I hope that we get a lot of episodes. I hope this is sort of plays out like Young Justice, where each season is like 20 something episodes. I would love that.
We are getting more episodes. This wasn't the season finale, though it could have served as one.
It could have served as one. So
Um,
my only complaint about this show is that I feel like they're, even though we all know like the general mythos of DC, I feel like they're revealing everything too fast. Like we saw how Deathstroke got his eye clipped. There's certain things that are just sort of happening too quickly. I wish they kind of.
See, I like the fact that they're moving fast. I actually I think that's a strength of the show.
It is.
Because I know.
It's done well. It's just. I kind of want a filler to just like this show needs a fun filler. Like,
Okay.
I feel like it just needs that. They're doing a great job establishing the characters, which I fucking love.
See, I feel like I don't know. I don't because I feel like it had a slow start, and so like it's slow start, but things are happening fast. Like they just like okay, Clark and Lois they kiss.
Right.
They're attracted to each other. Jimmy's his best friend, knows who it is.
Right.
They're getting all the shit out of the way I already know and don't care about.
Yeah.
But we're seeing it. But at the same time, we've had time for characters to be silly and goofy and do silly things and have fun and establish who they are.
Right.
And then these last two episodes though, it's like now the story is kind of coming into focus.
Yeah.
And I mean, we got to see what 0 Day was. And then the question is that Kryptonians? You know,
So
they're
my theory, that's Zod. That's my theory.
okay.
Is that
People are saying
that's Zod? I'm sure.
I mean, but my point is like they're leaving mystery where it's interesting,
Yes.
and they're just getting the shit out of the way that, in a fun way that I already know, and that's why I feel like it's got pretty solid pacing. I don't think I have a complaint. I had a blast. I thought 0 Day was. I thought this last episode was where the kind of more grown up side of things, because like you like if you're watching like the old animated Superman, this was much like there's a military, they're getting like blown away and stuff like that. It was much more grown up.
Right.
The question also is what. So well, we have multiple questions. We find out that the general guy that's been like hounding Superman,
right,
has been. He and Waller were in the military, and like they were sent to look at this alien invasion thing, and then it attacks them. So he believes it's Kryptonian. Well, and the tech is similar. So, and then Superman's questioning like, is that my people?
Right.
I mean,
am I sent here as a weapon kind of thing? It's
and we
sort of
Jor-El
invincible
as
feeling.
more of like a war god kind of guy.
Right.
So, it does kind of fit, but at the same time, what we know about Superman, that doesn't make sense.
Right.
And then,
but see, that's the thing, is that it does a good job at setting up what we already know. They're just telling it in a different way. And this whole show is about Superman learning, or Clark Kent learning who he truly is. And that's one of the things I really liked about this show, is that when he first sees Jor-El, he doesn't speak Kryptonian. He has no idea what he's saying. So
it's alien to him.
It's alien to him, which is probably what I think one of the biggest strengths that this show does, that it makes Superman feel like an alien in his own body.
Yeah, and he's like learning as he goes.
And that to me is Superman. He's still the beacon of hope. He's
well, and that's what we saw in this one, because we saw like the kids being like, "No, we got to help him," you know, like, and then like, we see
Superman
like, the whole
needs
city
us.
The whole city getting behind him, and But one thing I wanted to point out though, so the general, I mean, my theory, and I think everybody's got this general idea too, is that that's Lois's dad. Because we know in the comics that Lois's dad is like the general guy.
Right.
But he questions like whether or not Superman. He's starting to question that kind of stuff, and then we see a lot Waller being Waller, not even
I
questioning.
love Waller. What Waller?
But
Yeah.
classic Waller move, she shuts the power off so that the villains can escape and kill Superman because that's what she cares about.
Right.
And then obviously she uses the whole fiasco to take command of Task Force X.
Mm-hmm.
So yeah, we see her just as ruthless as always.
I love Waller.
With
Love
the
Waller.
general, and then like it ends with that like, oh, here's a last thing Ivo gave us, and it's a gun that can kill Superman.
Right.
So yeah, it's getting intense. I thought this was an excellent two-parter. It answered questions while leaving some,
Mm-hmm.
and like I said, it was my favorite episode because like you said, the beacon of hope part, that's where it shined through the most.
Right.
So it's just showed me my money.
So
100%.
one of the best scenes when he just said, "I don't want to fight you, Ivo." Like,
yeah,
he just didn't want to fight him. Like, I don't want to.
He doesn't want to fight anybody.
Right.
That's not his game.
Right. I don't want to hurt you. Like,
yeah,
I'm capable of it, but
to save people.
Right. So that's what this show does. It's a refreshing revisit to the classic Blue Boy Scout Superman. It's so good, so good. Shut up and take my money. I'm gonna try to convince Adrian to watch it. I bet Adrian would like it. Dan, I bet I can sit him down and have him enjoy it. It's fun. I know the youngling loves it. No, I think a couple episodes.
There's an interesting comic talking about Superman's no-kill rule, and because normally it's approached from a more morality point of view, or like we're talking about in this, where he just doesn't want to fight,
right?
And he definitely doesn't want to kill,
right?
But there was a comic where Superman was fighting Ultraman, I think, and Ultraman's like, "I've got the edge because I kill and you won't." Superman goes, "You think that makes you better than me?" He goes, "I don't kill.
Right.
Therefore, you assholes keep coming back tougher and more powerful than you were before, and I still beat you.
Right.
I get more powerful because I don't kill."
Right.
And I was like, "Oh, that's a really interesting take on that rule."
Yeah.
The reason he doesn't kill is because it makes him more badass. I don't know. I just thought that was cool.
That is pretty cool. Anyway, shut up and take my money all the way.
Yeah, shut up and take my money. Let us know what you guys thought. Rebel Moon trailer dropped. So we talked about this a bit before. This looks dope as hell to me. I mean, beyond that, I don't have a lot to say. It looks like Star Wars and Dune.
Yeah, I was going to say, it's like a Star Wars Dune. I love that. I have no idea what this movie's about. I'm going to go in as empty, clear-headed as possible.
Then I won't tell you the synopsis. I thought this would...
No, I mean, I'll know the synopsis, but...
I've actually been I've been kind of surprised that you haven't had more of a hard-on for this, because it's like hardcore Star Wars, and like, I mean, this was originally supposed to be Star Wars. You know that, right?
No.
Oh, you didn't know this? Zack Snyder wanted to make a Star Wars, but he didn't want to have to do with like Jedi or like any of that stuff.
No.
And so like Lucasfilm was like, no. And apparently they passed on this like several times before he got Netflix to do it. So this was originally supposed to be Zack Snyder's Star Wars.
That's awesome.
They wouldn't go for it, so then he made it himself.
That's a big fuck you to them. Nice. No, so you can read the synopsis. I just don't want to know too much what people are. I don't want to hear too many rumors about it. I want to go in with zero expectations and expect to be and hope to be blown away.
Okay.
The trailer looks phenomenal. Again, very Star Wars, but more leaning into like the Dune vibe. Little bit of Blade Runner vibe also. From what I saw, the creature designs looks pretty neat. I like that it was like a really long trailer too. Really got to kind of see various elements of the universe.
Well, basically, what the movie is it's about a colony on like the far side of the galaxy or whatever, and they get threatened by an army. What's his name? Regent Balsarius. And so like he leads these armies and he threatens this like little colony. So they dispatch this like warrior, young woman, mysterious past and all that. And she seeks out warriors from different planets that are around there, and they're gonna like take a stand. So it kind of reminds me, because again, like there's like the samurai movie, then there was the Western movie. the Hateful Eight or whatever, and then there was like Seven Samurai. It's got that kind of feel. So this little town is being attacked.
Right.
Oh, we need to like form and turn, push back them.
Right.
So it's that story again.
Okay. But in space, I love it.
Yeah, I mean,
I do
that's
love
Star
the
Wars.
no, that's Star Wars. I do love the quote unquote Sith character that we saw. It looks so cool. Remind me of Ventress a little bit, just with the hood and everything.
Yeah.
No, it looks great. I love the whatever weird alien creature that we saw with the weird like bubble face and the weird googly eyes and shit. Just interesting creature designs. I love the ships. It feels refreshing.
Yeah, it looks dope. Again, I think Snyder is totally right. Do a Star Wars movie where
it's not Star Wars.
Yeah, that's not tied to, because there are certain universes where the most interesting part is the main characters that we follow and all this.
Right, like RoboCop. Yes.
Yeah, you couldn't do a movie in the RoboCop universe without it being about RoboCop.
Right.
But Star Wars is a big universe that you could totally do it in, and have stuff that's not tied to the Force, all that kind of crap.
Right.
There are other religions, you know what I mean?
Right.
It's a bigger, it's like Marvel. Marvel, you can go a lot of places.
Right.
Anyway, so yeah, I assume it's just Shed Take My Money.
Oh, 8,000%. Yeah.
Looking forward to it. And like I said,
and if there's a theatrical release in a some type of enhanced movie-going experience, I would absolutely watch it if it's good. Like, watch it at home first, but if it's worthy of seeing it in like a giant IMAX or whatever the
I think I'm not looking forward to is all the people being like, "Oh God, it's the greatest piece of cinema ever." I mean, I hope it's great and I hope everybody loves it, but there's this level of like admiration for some of his work that it's like, chill out, dude.
Like, chill out, dude.
You know, like you can't say anything.
I'm sure it's not going to be like Barbie movie good, but I'm hoping for enjoyable
you
movie
just like
experience.
Pissed off everybody watching.
Yes.
Anyway, yeah, let's jump into some Battle Nerds and then we'll jump into the whole nerds. So Battle Nerds is our weekly game. We had 100 iconic characters. We random roll to see who we get, and then we have to come up with a convincing argument as to why our character would win. Last week was Cap was defending, or 2 weeks ago was defending Gordon Freeman, and I had the Mad Titan Thanos. So the Freeman, your argument basically summed up was that he could use some of it as portal gun and the gravity gun, or he could get the portal gun and then trap Thanos in an infinite trap. I predicted Thanos would just power through the whole thing, and sure enough, he did. He came out on top, landslide against Gordon Freeman. So Gordon Freeman goes out, but good. I mean, he went up against Thanos, so
you know what? He is the free man. He liberated an entire dimension of Vortigods who now view him as a messiah. May he rest in peace. My goodness, he sits among gods.
This week we're doing Goku versus Squirrel Girl. I got Goku, you got Squirrel Girl.
So what version of Goku are you going to do?
The anime. I mean, I'll be totally honest. I'm not totally caught up with all of the anime.
Okay.
But I know I'm basically up to Ultra Instinct. I think they've gone past that. I think there's something called Super Saiyan Rage.
Right.
But I mean, I know the character.
Right.
Very well, at least the Western version. I know there's some differences, though I do know the differences between that and the Eastern version of the character.
Right.
What are you going with Squirrel Girl?
So I'm just going with your basic amalgam of Squirrel Girl. Just I think it's the was it the
Earth 616 Squirrel Girl.
616 Squirrel Girl. Superhuman strength, speed, agility, Great Lake Avengers. Also unbeatable among her many feats. She's defeated Thanos, Doctor Doom, Galactus, Kang at one point. Only recently has she been...
I mean, Galactus, though, she befriended Galactus. I mean, yeah.
So
she wins that way. Yeah, she generally has 2 win conditions.
Right.
She 3. She either beats the fuck out of you like she did with Wolverine.
Right.
Or Doctor Doom and those kind of characters. or she'll win off panel,
Right.
or she's like, hey, let's be friends, and
So
then like,
here's how I see this fight going down: is
uh,
Goku comes up and is like, "Oh, let's fight," and she'll just be like, "Hey, let's go get ice cream." It's like, "Wow, that sounds great." The end. I can see it just being as stupid as that.
nah, because she throws down. It's
Yeah,
like
I
when
mean,
Wolverine threw down with her and she beat the fuck out of him. So she
Yeah.
does throw down. Goku is not going to be satisfied with ice cream because Goku's whole drive is I want to beat the very best.
Right.
And she is the best.
Right.
So all right, here's why Goku wins.
Mm-hmm.
Squirrel Girl is unbeatable. I accept that.
Mm-hmm.
But that is the barrier which Goku has to surpass.
Okay.
Goku, he breaks through every obstacle, breaks through every barrier.
Mm-hmm.
So Goku starts fighting Squirrel Girl. She's fighting him. He should be way more powerful, but she's holding her own. Maybe she throws a bunch of squirrels at him at one point.
Squirrel down his pants.
Amusing. Anyway, finally Goku is like, enough, and he's like, and whoosh, tiny rocks floating up from the ground.
Right.
Then off panel, cut to Squirrel Girl being like, I can't believe I won. But no, Goku goes beyond.
He breaks the
The panel rips open, and now he's gone into Super Saiyan panel unbeatable Goku. So now we have a fight. 20,000 episodes later, Goku finally defeats Squirrel Girl because Goku breaks any barrier, including unbeatable.
Oh,
Goku wins.
Oh, but Squirrel Girl will just talk to the writer and be, "This is unacceptable," and alter it that way.
Hey, but it doesn't work. I've broken that barrier. I've become unbeatable Goku.
No.
Super Saiyan unbeatable. Yeah, because that's how that show works. Your argument is Squirrel Girl wins. Wait.
Okay.
Your argument is summed up. Squirrel Girl wins because she's unbeatable, and that's how she's created. I'm saying, fine. Power. We can't throw in powers. Powers are irrelevant here.
Right.
What is Goku's character? Goku breaks any barrier. He breaks through your unbeatable barrier, and that's why that type of character triumphs over a Squirrel Girl character.
I think that she would either befriend him way before it gets to that point, or she can just...
Even if he's friends, he still wants to win the fight. That's irrelevant.
I still think that it's Squirrel Girl. She would just usurp that and just be, no, I'm going to talk to the writer and just go above that head, and it just progressively gets more meta. I can see it, because essentially you've created a meta hole.
Yeah, but she didn't really fourth wall break. I mean, that's not really something she's known
right. But
for.
She would fourth wall break.
I mean, I guess she does because she has the cards and stuff. But
so she would fourth wall break if the situation required her to fourth wall break, because that's just the nature of her power. It's almost like
right. But what I'm saying is he would surpass that.
Right, but then why wouldn't she be able to surpass that? Because that's exactly they both have similar power. They just execute it.
No, they don't. They have very different powers.
No,
her power is she is unbeatable because Goku wins because he becomes more powerful than you. She wins regardless of how powerful you are. But the thing is, that's the barrier he has to surpass. If his character is I can surpass any barrier, then that's the barrier he has to surpass. He does, then he wins. How he does that, that's up to the writers. You know, he enters the hyperbolic. Maybe he learns from other parody characters. I don't know, but that's what. But he eventually
just
reaches.
Deadpool just ushers his way. That's great.
He reaches. Well, again, that's the fourth wall more kind of character. But yeah, but he reaches Super Saiyan unbeatable, Super Saiyan God Ultra Instinct Infernal Rage Saiyan, and it's specific to that. That is how I think she would. But I mean, I think we've summed it up pretty well. You're saying she just is unbeatable.
Yeah,
I'm saying he breaks that barrier.
So up until recently, has she actually been defeated? But I mean, her feats is like befriending Galactus, going up against Thanos, just
Okay, I just
So
got to throw this out there. The befriending thing we have to take off the table because that's not going to matter to Goku.
okay,
He would fight a friend. He has fought friends.
right,
He cares about fighting, not friendship.
right.
I mean, he
So,
cares about friendship too, but.
anyways, what do we need to roll?
Oh, well,
Oh
so
yeah, yeah.
summing up.
So summation. Yes, though Goku can break the fourth wall, if you will, to defeat the undefeatable, I still think Squirrel Girl could just usurp that and just be Squirrel Girl. That's just sort of her mechanic. That's what she does. This will probably be one of those things where he'll. You know how I can envision this portrayed in a comic is that you turn a panel and there's Goku breaking through a panel and there he is, and then there's like a Snicker ad with Spider-Man, and then you turn the page again and there's a Squirrel Girl just sort of coming out of that panel, and it just sort of flip-flops like that. I can see it's sort of like a meta hole, but anyways.
Again, I don't know. I think that's the barrier he has to surpass based on their own character definitions. It's which one can come out on top.
Yeah.
And she is limited, whereas he theoretically isn't. And so I give it to him. But we don't decide, you guys do, so we'll put up a poll. Sounds like Cap's not going to be here next week, but we do weekly polls. So get your votes in and let us know who you thought win. It'll be up on Twitter as well as Facebook, as well as you can message us, you can leave a comment, you can however you want. Just let us know. There's plenty of ways to reach us. Anyway, so we'll go ahead and roll for next week.
Rolling.
You have to roll under a 30.
30, so I'm going to do D20 plus a 10. Where's the D10?
How do you roll a 1?
Oh, good point. So, if it's
I just rolled the D100 until I got under a 30. I'll give you my character. I got returning champ Mario.
I got a 17.
Mario takes on returning champ Captain America.
Ooh. Okay. All right, so tune in 2 weeks from now for the epic battle between Mario versus Steve Rogers, Captain America.
I'll probably go with the recent movie version of Mario just because it's relevant.
Okay. I'll see what I can.
And also, Chris Pratt's met Steve.
So you're saying there's a connection.
Chris Evans and Chris Pratt goes up against Chris Pratt.
Should we jump into Behold Nerds and wrap up the show? Yeah?
Yep.
So, just sail us away.
Oh, because my so Beholders is their weekly book club essentially, but it's usually with movies and TV shows. We take turns picking movies. We encourage you guys to watch it. We encourage you guys to give us suggestions. The week before, Kat picked a interesting movie that was about soldiers. You can go back and watch our review on it. And what was that movie called again?
Prey.
The Legend of Carnactos.
Yeah.
And
starring Danny Trejo.
So it was a low budget movie about soldiers taking on a monster.
Right.
And then while I was watching it, I was like, you know what movie this reminds me of? A low budget movie where soldiers take on monsters? It was Dog Soldiers. I feel Dog Soldiers is far and away the more superior movie.
I agree.
And so I thought after watching that one, which I didn't like so much, we watched this one. So Cap, you own this movie, but it was my pick. Well, what did you think revisiting it?
So Mrs. Cap actually introduced me to this movie when we first started dating. She likes werewolves. So here's the thing. I'm really picky with how werewolves are depicted. Some are more of like the Wolfman style, where they're more like humanoid, where others are more elongated, more like wolf-like. I tend to like those styles of werewolves more, so I like the design of the werewolves in this.
Under the classic Wolfman style,
yeah.
I think it's got its place, and also like there is actually a disease called like werewolfism or something. Yeah. That'll look like that. So
it's a trichotilliosis, something like that. But it's no. So I really enjoyed this movie when I watched it with Mrs. Cap. I really enjoyed revisiting it. It is very similar to the Last Behold Nerds, the Prey movie, just done a lot better, I would say.
Yeah, the
Yeah,
Silence
it was
movie.
good. It was good.
It's
Solid movie.
British soldiers. They're in Scotland. They get dropped off, and they basically encounter werewolves, and they have to survive until
Right.
morning.
Right.
The werewolves are
Like a
basically
family.
invincible through the
Yeah.
whole movie.
Mm.
They're very scary. Like there's a lot of gore in it. Like if you come up against one, you're gonna die.
Right.
My favorite scene by far was the one soldier gets stuck in the kitchen with a werewolf,
Yeah.
and he has to fight it, and he's holding his own.
Yeah.
You know,
He punches one, its teeth falls out, and it like flies
yeah, he
out,
like
sticks
kicks
in
it, and like and he like stabs it as shit.
the.
And then when the werewolf finally gets the upper hand, it was one of my favorite scenes in the movie.
I hope I
He's,
give you the shits. Like,
yeah.
I hope I give you the shits.
There's some badass dialogue in this movie.
Have you licked your
it's
own
all
balls
shot-
yet?
Yeah, it's all shot in 16 millimeter, so it looks grainy and kind of like that old style of movie, like older movies.
Yeah.
It's I thought the werewolves look cool. They're very tall and
Yeah, they're very like elongated. Like I like the creature design. It is very cool.
And I thought that I thought it was solid. There is some questionable, like if you really think about the plot, you're like, wait a second, like you find out that girl's one of the werewolves, and it's like, why did you bring him back to a fortified position? And
Right. Why do you bring them back
that?
to your house? You said that they live there, and they even showed the one thing that I liked about this movie is that they showed the werewolves, obviously, but you just got a glimpse of what the people actually look like, just as their normal selves. Just in that one little brief picture. And like you said, oh, they're really nice people. It's like, yeah, but they're fucking murdering us right now. Like, who gives a shit if they're nice every other time of the month? Right now, they're fucking murder dogs. So, but I like that little scene. It was just, I don't know, I liked it.
No, it was good. The characters are likable. I could see like why people would find it a little confusing outside of like the main couple of people,
Right?
like who some of the soldiers are, because they kind of are.
They
introduced him. He's like, "Oh, big man is John," and like,
yeah.
And I think some of the thicker British accents as well. Like, I think people are gonna have a hard time understanding.
I did have a hard time understanding anybody in this movie.
Okay, there were some lines that I was like some slang and stuff like that. Because like I was like, oh yeah, because I lived in the north of England and stuff like that, and I recognized some of the slang and things like that.
So there's actually a scene where he uses slang and he has to explain himself to the lady. She says, yes, yeah. So I had no problem with the slang. I just took it at face value as, oh, it's
classic British like throwdown line. Come and have a go if you think you're hot enough, stuff like that. Like I loved it, and the whole thing, and totally in line with like Northern England. They were all concerned about the football match.
Right.
And and then it ends, and then you see the results of the football match on the paper, and then just like small, like my platoon was eaten by werewolves.
Yeah.
It's a great movie. If you haven't seen it, fun piece of horror. It's gory. It's at first I did like go like, whoa, what? Like, why is it so grainy? And then I was like, oh, it was shot in 16 millimeter.
Right. That old style.
Yeah. It does. It feels like an old school like a
B horror movie, like 80s B horror movie, but
drive-in is what I was thinking. Like,
drive-in,
the stuff that Tarantino loves, but like British,
right?
And I loved it. This is one of my favorite like kind of indie horror flicks. It's just should take my money 100%.
Yeah, 8,000% should have take my money. Yeah, good watch, definitely. So weird thing that I noticed, I'm not sure if you're familiar with it, but the music that they play in this movie, like I kept hearing it, it reminded me a lot of the theme song of Sid from Final Fantasy VII. Not sure if you're familiar.
I didn't notice that. But...
I'm not sure if you know what his song sounds like, but it's one of my favorite piece of music from that game. So as I'm listening to the music in this, it's like, there's very similar notes in music to the Sid's theme from Final Fantasy VII. Not a complaint, just a thing I noticed because my brain is weird that way. Still shut up and take my money.
I love the sergeant character in
Oh,
this
he was
movie.
great.
Yeah. And like when he's like starts like they're just the like them yelling at each. Oh, and the part when he gets the when they're like trying to like put him back together, pushing his guts back
You're
in,
right.
and then using super glue,
Right.
and he's like delirious and screams, "Oh, he's my best mate, he is," and yeah, I just loved it. Like
Yeah.
it made me want to go back to the UK. Not because of werewolves and shit, but like just like
But
the
that's a
way they
plus.
interacted with each other and stuff
Right.
like that reminded me of some of my friends.
Right.
But yeah, I love this movie. So you get next week's pick. So what is your pick
So
for?
we are going to do one that I wanted to do, and God rest his soul, we were watching Pee-wee's Big Adventure. Haven't watched this movie in...
I've not seen that since I was a child.
Right, I haven't seen this movie in probably 35 years. Let's fucking fire it up. Scenes in this movie scared the shit out of me as a kid.
Yeah, I don't remember it really. I just remember that at school everybody was doing the dance. Yeah.
May God rest his soul, Paul Rubens. Watch it in spirit. Again, this is just one of those classics that I loved as a kid. Scared the shit out of me as a kid. It was weird as hell watching it as a kid. Apparently, this I didn't know this, but this came out before Pee-wee's Playhouse. I thought they came out at roughly the same time, so this was actually the...
I thought Pee-wee's Playhouse was the thing, and then...
Right. So it wasn't that, and apparently before it was Pee-wee's Playhouse...
Was this the first piece of Pee-wee thing?
I think so. And apparently before it was Pee-wee's Playhouse, it was a HBO special that was kind of the same humor, but more adult.
Okay.
So, I don't know, now that I'm an adult, I'm consuming all of this Paul Rubin material. He was funny. Like, you're either in on the joke or you're not. And if you're in on the joke, it's funny. But watching him on Letterman was funny. Watching him on Arsenio Hall, just watching how they react to him is funny. It's almost like a juvenile Jim Carrey. It's almost at the same level of acting, or just that type of character.
We got a couple of likes on YouTube. Thank you to whoever gave us a like. We appreciate it.
Anyways, we should probably end the show. So, thank you for watching.
Oh, and also thank you, Art of War, for liking our post, and really appreciate the support.
Yes. So I think when we come back, we should definitely pick a pitch. We're doing...
We can do it. I actually, give me a second. So we were discussing doing board games.
Yes.
And we reached out to you guys. I compiled the list, and then I kind of condensed it a little into 12 games.
Okay.
And then we can roll a D12. And then the goal is we will be pitching a movie based on one of these board games. It's kind of a challenge to ourselves.
All right. D12, yeah?
Yeah.
I rolled a 12.
I rolled a 2. Oh, that's funny because I play in it a lot. You got Shoots and Ladders.
God damn it, Dan.
Officer Shoots and Officer Ladders.
Okay. All right.
And I got Settlers of Catan.
Okay. Wow. That's an interesting suggestion. Okay, so tune in for the...
Catan is one of the like biggest board games. Like,
yeah.
Board games.
But
I've been playing it because I bought it recently, so I've been playing it every weekend with my sister and her boyfriend.
Okay.
But all right, yeah, let's wrap up.
Little does fellow nerd Dan know that I'm going to get him to a state of elevated consciousness, and he's going to help me concoct the Shoots and Ladders movie.
Officer Shoots and Officer... I know that's taken, but that's all I can think of.
It's going to be like a Paw Patrol thing. Anyways, we are at that magic hour. I'm going to go watch The Flash with Mrs. Cap. So for those of you who watch, thanks for watching. For those who will eventually tune in, how you doing? Thanks for watching. Do all the crap where you like and subscribe, all that stuff. We like to end the show with a quote from Mr. Frosty. Mr. Frosty, sail us away.
You haven't figured it out yet, have you? I'm the Saiyan who came all the way from Earth. From Earth? That makes no sense. For the soul. Oh, no. Sorry. Let me start over. You haven't figured it out yet.
Good night, everybody.
No, don't do that.
No, I'm teasing you. Go.
Start again. All right. You haven't figured it out yet.
I'm the Saiyan who came all the way from Earth for the sole purpose of beating you. I'm the warrior you've heard of in legends, pure of heart, awakened by fury. That's what I am. I'm the Super Saiyan, Son Goku.
Good night, everybody.